Have you ever been blamed for something you did not do? Now, add this to the mix. What if you saw the person that committed the wrong and you were the one that got blamed for it? How about this? Maybe this happened when you were younger. Hopefully I'm not really bringing back any negative experiences, right? Nothing that makes you upset. But what if you not only were innocent, you saw the person who did the wrong thing do it, but then when you went to explain it, you were not believed. And not just not believed, but continued to be put to blame. Has that ever happened to you, or something like that happened to you? So I'm gonna go ahead and share a question of the Bible. And this is something, because we often blame God or say, God made me this way, God did that. Let's take a look. Here's the question. If you believe that God doesn't make mistakes, does that mean in your eyes that people who claim to have been born in the wrong body are an affront to God? If you don't believe in God, but believe people can be born in the wrong body, does that mean you actually believe in a gender soul? So we're not gonna go ahead and deal with the second part, not really as much, because it starts with if you don't believe in God. We're gonna go ahead and focus on the first part because I do believe in God. Now, before I continue, in the comment section, let me know, how would you respond to this question? Because I'm sure there are some things that are probably popping into your mind, and there are certainly probably some things that you would want to say if you had the opportunity to answer such a question. So let's dialogue in the comment section. We're going to take a look at some Bible verses. So if you believe that God doesn't make mistakes, does that mean in your eyes that people who claim to have been born in the wrong body are an affront to God? So let's go ahead and address the whole, God making mistakes part. We're going to go to the book of Genesis. It's going to be chapter 1. So you can pause the video, look this up in your own Bible, or you can pause it, grab your Bible, and just follow along. So we are in Genesis chapter 1. You ready? So you know that line, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So that's Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. So it's part of what God was doing on the first day. But notice verse 4. The first words are, "And God saw that it was good." So in verse 5, at the end of verse 5, we see that that's the end of the first day. Now, we're going to go ahead and I want to do this, like a rapid fire style. So look at verse 9 with me. The ending words, the last words there are, "And God saw that it was good." Let's skip to verse 12. The last words there, "And God saw that it was good." Let's skip to verse 18. The last words there, "And God saw that it was good." Now let's go to verse 21. The last words there, "And God saw that it was good." So we're ending the fifth day there with verse 23. So let's go to verse 25. The last words there, "And God saw that it was good." Are you noticing a pattern here? How many times have we read the same phrase? Check this one out though. We're gonna skip to 31. Instead of the last words, we're gonna take a look at the first words. "And God saw all that he made, and behold, it was very good." That's verse 31, how it begins. Now, we have these things. We're gonna get to the whole part, like, how did it say? Born in the wrong body or something like that. All right, well, when God created, things were good, very good. Now, about how we were created, I want to go ahead and rewind a little bit to verse 26 and verse 27. You ready? "Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, so that they will have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth.'" All right. So it begins with saying that God was saying, "Let us make them in our image." Now, we're going to go to verse 27. "And God created man in his own image." We already read that. "In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them." So things were very good. God created Adam in his body, even hers. There was no confusion as to, did God make a mistake, or I think I'm in the wrong. That just wasn't a thing. It just wasn't. So it was very good, that way. All right, so in verse 28, God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply. So we're gonna go ahead and then consider what happened then. Well, you see, if we continue reading past chapter 1, we go into chapter 2, and then we're gonna come across chapter 3. In chapter 3, Eve was deceived and she sinned. Adam then chose to sin. It is from that moment on that humanity was corrupted. They didn't know what violence was before. They knew it then. They didn't know what sickness and loss of health, death, they didn't know these things. They would come to learn these things. They didn't see how, things that were confusing to them that wasn't supposed to be. That did not happen until after they sinned. So those are things, and the results thereof, those are things that God is not responsible for. He just isn't. We cannot blame God for something we have done. Remember that story when we were thinking at the beginning of the video? If you have ever been blamed for something you haven't done, I'm sure happy isn't the way to describe the emotion you felt when that was being put on you. Now, God is not like us. He's so much more patient, long-suffering, but it doesn't mean that it's right to say these things. So let's take a look at the question again. If you believe God doesn't make mistakes, he doesn't. Does that mean in your eyes that people who claim to have been born in the wrong body are an affront to him? Well, I would say that God is long-suffering with them as well, patient with them, but God didn't make a mistake. And also, those claims or the way people feel about that, it doesn't have to do with God. I say this politely, don't come for me for this, but just speaking biblically, a lot of the things that we know is a result of sin. It's a result of sin. It's not that God created us that way. I hope that makes sense. You're welcome to dialogue respectfully in the comment section with me. How would you go about answering this question? Thank you for sticking around this long. You know what? There's another part I wanted to just briefly mention, although it spoke to the non-believers, the second part of the question. But if we believe in a gendered soul, well, maybe not we, but they, meaning those who don't believe in God. I think that's still a good question, a good thing to consider, to talk about. Well, I want to go ahead and briefly mention this because we'll probably dive into this more in a future video. If you would like to see it, then just let me know in the comment section. Let's just talk about it. If not, I got some other questions we're going to be getting to in short videos. Also, if you have a question in the Bible, feel free to write that in, to send that in. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Then Yahweh God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And so man became a living being. In the King James Version, that last term is, and man became a living soul. The Hebrew, it translates to soul, literally. So let's take a look. There's a formula here. And see, this was Adam. So we got dust, that's where it was formed from. And then we have the breath of life in Genesis 2:7. The breath of life. Guess what word the Hebrew refers to? Spirit. We're not spirits. We have the Spirit, meaning we have the breath of life. And for those who are baptized, the Bible in the New Testament also promises the gift of the Holy Spirit. So that's different though. This is a reference to the breath of life. And then the result of that is a soul. A soul is not a floating person. It's the result of dust plus breath of life equaling soul. So how about that last part then? I just don't want to get the term wrong here. In a gendered soul. Well, how could I say, God created them male and female. Those who he created male, they are male. Those who were created female, they are female. I know somebody out there is going to want to make it more complex than that. That can be another video. Just let me know, we'll create another one. As for this one, I hope it makes sense. God created everything to be very good. And you know what? It is true that sin stained everything. It ruined everything, corrupted everything. But But you can probably predict what I'm saying next. The plan of salvation came into play, and Jesus did his thing, fulfilled part of his mission on earth. And when I say part, on earth, he fulfilled the mission completely, but there is more he is doing. And he's coming back. He's coming back. And so those who are his, he is going to, the Bible talks about a new heavens and a new earth. And we're gonna return to the way things should have remained, without sin and all the crazy and the suffering and the corruption and the death that comes from it. So my invitation is, at least with this video, this is a great question, but let's not put the things on God that are not his fault. And then if this person, because I don't know who they are, but I would motivate to just cling on to God and his promises, because he's coming back. And then those things are going to be made right. All things are going to be made right. So cling to God, look for him. Let's keep sharing the word and encouraging each other. This world will pass, all the things thereof, and there will be a better tomorrow. So get ready. I'll see you in the next video.